I'm going to get up and speak. I love something. After all my requests to eliminate speeches tonight so that the guests could have the real oineg and the simcha, I did not succeed. And I tell you that I did it. I think it was Dvorim Hayetzim in Alev, but nevertheless, the Mechutonim insist that one or two speeches should be made. So here I am. Maisa Ovois Simile Bonim. That which would happen to our forefathers is a sign, or it happens also as an indication to the children. Now, I'm not going to go in here into any financial discussion, but I'm trying to convey a certain point. You'll never notice in the Torah that it discusses a recession. A recession. They say we're living in a recession. And if anyone knows about it, I think I know about it too, because we have to pay the checks every 2 weeks. Where does the Torah mention a recession, particularly in the early Sedras? In this Vahirov, yes, true. That's a famine, right? But I want to say something more. This is a message to all of us, I think, and it's a message to the Chosen Kala particularly. Vayizra Yitzchok bo'oretz hahi, and I think the posik finishes Vayimtzo me'ah she'orim. Yitzchok sowed, planted in that land, and the measure was 100-fold more than anticipation, although there are various meforshim who discuss this aspect. And Rashi says an interesting thing, that this measure of 100-fold more was only for the tithes, for the maisres, for the charity that Yitzchak gave from the produce and for what he made from that produce. How does recession come in there? Ba'oretz ahi, Rashi says that it was tough going. It was a shnas batzoires. It was very tough. There was a recession, and credit was very, very tight. And nevertheless, Vayizra Yitzchak. Yitzchak planted, Yitzchak worked, and I don't know, I'm not saying I have to be careful. Although we speak about digging wells, and Yavrom dug wells, and Yitzchak dug wells, but the expression Vayizra, maybe you could catch me by a mistake, I don't think it refers more from any of the Gimel Oves only to Yitzchak. Yitzchak sowed, Yitzchak planted, Yitzchak did, to a certain extent, we have to be very careful, a certain financial enterprise. And although it was difficult, Vayivoracheu Hashem. Hashem is the Shem Yudkei Vovkei, which indicates beyond nature. Elikim is Teva, and this, I think that this is the word for Rabbeinu Bechaya or someone else. Let's say Vayivoracheu Hashem, because under the circumstances of that time, and of that situation, of the financial climate or whatever it was so difficult to succeed in business, so Vayivoracheu Hashem, the Rabbeinu Shalom, blessed them. Which koyach from the Rabbeinu Shalom, which was L'mayla Mederach HaTeva. Vayizra Yitzchak. So I saw in a Chassidish Sefer yesterday, the great and holy Noam Elimelech. Everybody heard of the Noam Elimelech? Rabbi Elimelech Milezhensk. And there's a young man that was having the Sefer. I have it in my house. Welche idische Hois hotnish dem Nohelik Noam Elimelech. And the Noam Elimelech on that posik, Noam Elimelech was one of the greatest tzaddikim. Just by chance, if you have Sipurei Tzadikim and Sipurei Chasidim from Rabbi Zevin, you have it? Look the last story in Bezois HaBrocha. And there is an interesting story that he tells that it was related to him by those who survived the Holocaust, Rachmana litzlan, about the cave of the grave of the Neumann HaMelech. Rav Zevin, who was a Ban Herman, a reliable person, and there is an outstanding, unique story about the Neumann HaMelech. It's the last story, and you'll see who the Neumann HaMelech was, amongst others. The Neumann HaMelech says, Vayizra Yitzchok, Yitzchok planted, Oyer Zorua la Tzadik, Ule Yishrei Leiv Simcha. A tzaddik, not only does he plant physical seeds, material seeds, not only is his planting for material purpose, but oir zorua la tzaddik. A tzaddik plants light. His objective in the world is, as his father, Avraham Avinu, as the prophet says, the Navi, Mi Heir Mi Mizrach, who awakened with an ayin, as I mentioned many times. Who is the individual who awakened the world to the identification of the Rabbeinu Shalom, Avraham Avinu, or Mi Heir Mi Mizrach, with an aleph, who brought light in the world, the spiritual light. Vayikra Alekim Lo'or Yoim. So the Medrash Shabbos says, by the creation of the world, light. Zok the Medrash Rabbo ze Maise Tzadikim. This is the actions and the activities and the efforts and the work of Tzadikim, who their objective is to bring light. Vayizra, you know what means Vayizra? The interesting thing that Hashem made in the nature, so-called teva, which everything comes from the Rabbeinu Shalom, you put in a few seeds in the ground, and up comes an abundance, right? From our poor seeds. The power that the Rabbeinu Shalom put in, that if you work a little bit, and you put in only a few seeds, you know what comes out? An abundance. From a little seed, a whole tree could come out. And there could be a continuation of fruits. At soif kol hadoros. That's the power what the Rabbeinu Shalom made in planting. If it is so with replanting seeds and flowers and trees and fruits and wheat or whatever, how much more is it when it is oyer zoru ala tzadik? As the famous expression, ma'at oyer, a little bit light, doiche harbe choshech, drives away a lot of darkness. A little candle in a room will illuminate a bigger candle more. My friends, in the recession of Yitzchak, in that situation, he had both things in mind. He had the Vayizra, Ein HaMikra Yotzei Midei Pshutoi, the simple and poshut interpretation that he planted Gashmias, physical, material seeds, whatever, but in the same token, Yitzchak Avinu, it cannot say was satisfied only with that. He also planted light. He brought light to his environs, to his surrounding place. And because that he put the combination of the Gashmias and the Ruchnias, the spiritual efforts, together with the physical efforts, he was bestowed and he was blessed with Shem Havaya. And he understood, as the Meforshim say, you have, if you'll take the new Svarim that came out from the Tosfos, the Ziknei Balei Tosfos, new manuscripts came out, which is fantastic. He gave so much tzedakah. Why? Because there was a recession, and there were so many poor people who needed to have his assistance. And I'm saying this with regard to our friends, the Mechutonim, and our friends who are sitting here in this community and also in Sydney, who their objective is that when they plant, they don't only plant for themselves. When their objective is to try to earn money, their main objective is tzedakah, the maisres, and they are balei tzedakah. The Gestetner family, the Herzog family, the Hirschberg family, and what I said is also true, 100%, Plitas Apeh. And alle Eden that are sitting here, therefore we schreit to the Rabbeinu Shalom, Rabbeinu Shalom, deine Kinderlach geben doch Meisres. Sie pflanzen nicht für sich. Sie pflanzen zu geben Tzedakah, für Menschen, was darfen, für Moisdes, für Dahi, für Umetum. Darfst du bei Yevoracheu Hashem, darf kommen die Brache von Shem Havaye, lemeile mit derech hateve, als alle Eden sollen haben Parnasse ba'achava. They should have Parnasse in the fullest sense of the word, in order they should fulfill the Meir She'orim of La'aser Modois, to give tzedakah and chesed. But our mechutonim, and so the family from whom they come, and if I start enumerating from all sides, actually, Maya, I remember his father, Olav Sholem, from Hornsby and from 38 Ocean Street, next to Rabbi Abramson's Chayne Levracha, and Gestetner, ihr gedenkt Rabbi Yosef Felberbaum, who was one of the pioneers of the Adas Yisrael, when he saw Rabbi Avram Chaim becoming closer to Lubavitch, to Chabad, to Reb Zalman, I suppose he had mixed feelings, but nevertheless, Azedi Rav Gestetner, Rav Nosson Gestetner, wrote to his cousin Rav Nosson Gestetner in Australia, there is a posik, Kinachesh Yenachesh. Yenachesh means that he does kish, you understand? So he wrote him about his sons, Nish Yenachesh Mitashin, no Mitasof, Yenachesh at Hom Nachas. And this is Mekuyim Gevon Lucy. Lubavitch, I'm a good friend of Lucy. I know him in and out. If anyone knows Lucy, I know him particularly inside out. Ich kenne Lucy. Aber ich schweigte Baruch Hashem, you know why? Because the brache von Ki Yenaches, that he has Naches, was fulfilled lemeile me amishur, auf alle jüdische Kinder gesagt geworden, als solche Kinder wie du hast, und das einfach gut not. And it's a fragen, was leib ich? Weil I want the Borcheu Hashem, I want every Jew should be blessed with Shem Havaya lemeile me derech hateve. I conclude. Chosen Kale. You, as we know, come from these illustrious families. Your parents are active, and it's coincidence that both are active in Chesed Shalemes, and the Mashiach, that's why we all ask for Mashiach to come, and they will lose their jobs. B'mheira v'yomeinu omein. I don't want to make any words up. So sein Simchis for alle Eden, and I'm sure they're looking forward for giving up their jobs und tanzen mit alle Eden klekabel pnei Mashiach tzedkeinu. Nevertheless, Chosen Kale, Chosen, you were brought up in an atmosphere in where you learned from the Rebbe Shlita Vayizra. The previous Rebbe used to say to his emissaries, to his shluchim, and he said it to me, and he wrote it to me in a letter when I came to Australia in 1947-48, before a lot of people were here. And he wrote to me an expression which is very befitting what I'm saying now. Zein Ruchnius und Kleiben Gashmius. I came here to raise funds. Right? Gashmius, material, hat gesagt zu mir, your objective is not only that, verkehrt. I shouldn't say this loud, that's secondary. Your main objective, as Eita mir geschrieben, der Friedrich Rebbe, sehen, planting Ruchnius, to awaken and to speak to the youth particularly, to the people wherever you go, about their Zaydis and Elta Zaydis and the Bobis, that they should remind themselves the way of life of Europe, wherever they come from. That is your objective. And if you will plant Ruchnius, Chosen Kale, if you will build your home as the Rebbe Shlita wants, that you are Tamimim and a Tamima, Neirois Lahoir, as the Rebbe Rashab said, you will be candles to shed light. Vayizra Yitzchak, Vayizra Yosef, V'necherachol, and it will be Ur Zoruah la Tzadik, Damals Vetzayin Ule Yishrei Leiv, Simcha. Then you will be blessed with the Gashmias and the Ruchnias. You will be by Yevoracheu Hashem. You will build your home on this premise of Vayizra. Vayizra Zein Ruchnias Vetikleiden Gashmias Der Yeshorim Yevoirach. And we'll have the Emeser Nachas and the Emeser Simcha with Mashiach Tzidkenu. I don't want to finish. I don't want to conclude without expressing a special Mazel Tov to the Zayda and the Bobbe, Mr. and Mrs. Roden, who graced this table. Baruch Hashem la'orech yom v'shonim, and Mr. Roden, it cook in the Medrash Rabbe of the Heintik Sedre, the Umfang, Eile Toiledois Yitzchak ben Avram Hoiledes Yitzchak, the Medrash Rabbe sagt, Adohu d'chsiv, Ateres Kenim, a Heintik Sedre, Ateres Kenim b'nei bonim. The crown of the Zaydes are the Einiklach, a Medrash Rabbe on the spot. Und der Rabbeinu Shalom hat euch geholfen, als ihr hat solche gewähnt zu Bnei Bonim Einiklach, der Yeshorim Yevoirach, hat ihr beide dem Emerson Kroin. Und ihr sollt haben Arichas Yomim. And to the Mechutonim, to the Tatis und to the Mames, ihr sollt solche sein zu dem Emerson Nachas. Und Nachas, as ihr sollt tun in eurer Arbeit, you do your work, but you also are communal workers. Therefore, you're by Yizra, you do take in your shirt factory in 17 Campbell Street. I think this used to be my second office there. And I come in Campbell Street, noch als name. So by him, I was more in Nusi's office than in his office, you understand? And also, but then there's the Vayitzra. And while I'm standing here, the Chosen is a Talmud from the Rebbe, the Kala is a Talmida from the Rebbe. So all of us express a broche, a special broche to Adinenu Mareinu Rabbeinu Harav Rabbi Nachum Mendel ben Chane lerefuah shleimo ukroivo. And as the Gemara in Shabbos says, that when Mashiach will come, Klal Yisrael will say to Yitzchak, it's a whole story because Yitzchak took up the case of his idolach and he showed the Rabbeinu Shalom, you haven't got better than the Yiddish folk. Hast dich better the best of the idolach. A ganze Gemara. Don't have any tightness on them. They're doing a good job, a very good job, and it's high time you do something for them. So you know what the Gemara says? That from all Avram, Yitzchak, v'Yankiv, as they sagt the Gemara, that we will say to Yitzchak, Ki ato avinu, you are our father, because you took our behalf. The Rabbeinu Shalom soll helfen, as Vayizra Yosef, I don't know, mit sein Freu, wird sein, Vayevoracheu Hashem, Me'or She'orim Mazel Tov.